Hi, my name is Elaine Larkin, and I have been a technician for about 39 years. I went to Delhi. I started in 1977 and I graduated in 1979. I have been working here for about 33 years at the Weed Sport Animal Hospital, and previous to that, I was working at the Chestnut Ridge Animal Hospital. I worked there for about 6 years. So I have been here 33 years. I've done nothing but being a vet tech, and that's what I always wanted to do. And I have made basically a career out of being a tech. So I hope you guys enjoy the career that you're in and continue onward and upward. Thanks.
My responsibilities included running urine samples for doing a urinalysis, which is my favorite thing to do now. Mite checks, which is also exciting. Nail trims, the running the blood machines, doing all the snap tests, drawing blood, which I have recently gotten a lot better at because of the saying.
Be one with the vein.
Dr. Hop and Elaine taught me that, and honestly, it actually really does help when I'm drawing blood to say, whisper it and say, "Be one with the vein, be one with the vein," because I don't know, I always hit the vein then when I do that. Sending out fecals, Elaine taught me how to make the box. That was
The UPS or the
yeah,
FedEx
the
box.
FedEx
Yes.
box. That was honestly probably the hardest thing this summer to learn.
How to put the box together, that is.
And restraining. Those are all restraining is probably the most important thing, and I have definitely gotten a lot better on my restraining. I mean, when I first came here, I would restrain, but every now and again another assistant or Elaine would have to step in, but now I'm like the go-to.
Yep, she has excelled at restraint.
So those are my responsibilities. My other responsibilities included cleaning cages, administering sub-Q fluids, reconstituting vaccines, and after surgery care, which would be ensuring the animal wakes up. So whenever we'd have a brachiocephalic read, the doctors would say, "All right, go sit by Elaine," and I'd bring I'd bring the bulldog over and we'd sit on the floor next to Elaine to get him to wake up because you really want to monitor their breathing when they're waking up. So.
And a lot of times when she was administering the sub-Q fluids, we also had Serenia and famotidine injections that were needed to be given, and she also did those.
Yeah.
So she did sub-Q injections also while she was doing the sub-Q fluids.
And I also learned that Serenia smells like Band-Aids.
Yep.
And it stings.
Yep. Yep.
So that's my other responsibilities.
That's probably
My first case study is on a little, like a mini schnauzer.
Schnauzer mix, yeah.
My first ever IV catheter. I've done the IV catheters on the rabbits in Rats Lab, which was fun. And so when we had to put a catheter in this guy, Dr. Hop came up to me and said, "Oh, have you done an IV catheter in yet?" And I was like, "In a rabbit." So Elaine restrained the dog, and one with the vein brought me through.
Dr. Hop talked her through it,
Yeah.
and she popped it right in first time.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
And like we told her also, because everybody has their different way of taping and a catheter. So, we showed her how we do it. I'm sure there's going to be other people showing her different ways. So, but she did very good on her first try.
Yeah, so that was a very proud moment for me. My second case study is on my cat Justice. When he had his anaphylactic reaction, which I'm pretty sure I put in my last presentation, we gave him an epinephrine injection, which caused a change in pigmentation. I was noticing about 3 months later that he had a white spot on his side that I'd never seen before, and I was pretty sure I'd never seen it before because he's an all-black cat, as you'll see in the next pictures. And so I brought him in to my clinic. I texted my doctor and I was like, "Hey, my cat's got a weird spot on him now all of a sudden." So I brought him in. So as you can see, he has a white spot and he's a tuxedo cat. And I brought him in and Dr. Hub looked at it, and
was sort of a learning experience for all of us.
Yeah.
Because she went online and found out that in rare instances, the epi shot can cause the change in color of coat. It causes a reaction in the pigmentation, and the fur changes from black to white. So it was kind of a learning experience for all of us.
Yeah, the doctor had never heard of it. Neither doctors
No,
had heard of
no,
it, and so he was in, and him being in for this case study actually leads to my next case study. So, continuing on from case study 2, while Justice was at the clinic for Dr. Hop to look at his spot, a cat came in with severe anemia. His blood was basically like Kool-Aid. It was very, very hard to get a catheter in him. I don't remember what gauge we put in, but it was...
I think I ended up getting a 26 gauge into him because he had no blood pressure.
Yeah, it was just... I have never seen blood that
yes,
liquidy. It was pretty rough. So my cat, being a big boy, he's not super fat, but he's just a big, bulky boy. We decided he would be a blood donor. And Dr. Hop taught me that with cats, you get a quote unquote freebie for a blood transfusion. And he gets one basic freebie blood transfusion where they don't have to do a blood type on him. So we gassed my kitty down and took how many? We ended up
getting about 40 to 45 cc's of blood from him.
So that was good. And
we took it. We actually drew up about 5 cc's of heparin and 40 cc's of blood and mixed it. And so we ended up with a fair amount of blood to transfuse the other kitty.
Yes.
And being that it was a crazy day, I started out the transfusion, but Michaela finished it.
Yeah, it was rough. We were down an assistant, and so it
was one of those days.
Yeah, so I took over, and the cat's doing really good now.
Yes, we have checked the cat twice so far now, and the crit is coming up each time, and so we're thinking it was some sort of autoimmune. Not quite sure what it was though, because the hemobartonella came back negative, and so all we know is the cat is doing better, and he's on steroids and looking each time he's better when he comes in.
Yep. So my kitty was savior of the day.
Yep, Mr. Savior, we call him.
So for my 4th case study, I have a guest speaker, Dr. Schnabel. This was an interesting case, and he will take it away.
All right, this is a 9-year-old cat presented about 3 weeks ago because he wasn't right, according to the owners, no specific clinical signs. When I first examined him, one thing I noticed was that he had lost a fair amount of muscle mass along his backbone, even though he was still pretty plump, which kind of usually means there's some sort of a chronic problem. We did some blood work, which was essentially normal. When I palpated his abdomen, he felt bloated, so we took an x-ray, and the x-ray showed a lot of loss of detail, which is an indication of abdominal fluid. We tapped the fluid, sent it to the lab to get it analyzed. Came back as a couple of possibilities, FIP possibly, or something called carcinomatosis, which is basically metastatic cancer in the abdomen. Had an ultrasound performed to rule out cardiac problems, because cardiac problems can result in fluid accumulation in the abdomen. And the ultrasonographer did not really come up with an exact reason for what was going on. So the owners elected to do an exploratory. When we explored the cat, we removed approximately a liter of this kind of yellowish fluid, and the entire abdomen, the intestine, the serosa, the abdominal wall, was covered with hundreds of little tiny white nodules, which most probably would indicate FIP. We also performed something called the vinegar test, which is a test, I guess, that's commonly used in Europe, which supposedly is about 80% accurate for FIP. And basically what you do is you drop a couple of drops of this abdominal fluid into some diluted vinegar, and if it precipitates right to the bottom of the test tube, it's kind of an indication of FIP. And I think basically what happens there is that the protein coagulates and sinks to the bottom of the tube. Then he woke up from anesthesia, was really depressed. Not surprising considering the condition that we found. Owners came down, they wanted to take him back home. They knew he wasn't doing well, and he basically passed away that night at the owner's home. I think they were pretty happy that he was home, and they understood that things weren't really good.
Here is the pictures of, on the right is the abdominal fluid, on the left, I don't know if you can really see it, but there is the coagulated proteins in the bottom. To wrap up my experience at the Weedsport Animal Hospital, I would have to say I learned more than I could have ever imagined. This summer really solidified that being a veterinary technician is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I got to do so much. I became a part of the team. And when there was a falling out with one of the employees, I stepped it up, and they really appreciated that, and it made me feel like I belonged there, and that I finally found somewhere that I belong, and I love it. And I'm really excited to see what the future has for me. Um, they enjoy it because, you know, I get excited when any cool cases come in, when anything fun happens. I get excited to run a urinalysis. And I know that'll go away with time, but I'm really enjoying um, my path, right now, and I'm really glad that I chose to do this with my life. I'm really feel fulfilled, and I can't thank them enough for giving me the opportunity to do this, because I don't know where I'd be without being on the road to becoming a veterinary technician, because it's honestly life changing, and they did a great job teaching me.